Well, over the last 24 hours, we've started to get a lot of reports about the possibility of Marvel Studios finally recasting T'Challa. This is a pretty controversial potential move from Marvel Studios, and I thought we should take a couple minutes to talk about these possibilities, where they're coming from, what I think's going on, and why, ultimately, a new actor taking up the role of T'Challa is almost inevitable. Well, over the last couple of days, we started to hear a lot of details about Marvel Studios potentially recasting T'Challa in the MCU. Now, the initial round of reports even indicated that one major actor had actually turned down the role to play the King of Wakanda, so I thought we could back up a little bit and talk about what's going on and why this is such a huge move. Now, ultimately, you want to give some huge credit to Marvel casting director Sarah Finn. With the casting of Chadwick Boseman as the Black Panther, honestly, this is one of the greatest superhero castings of all time, and the man embodied the character with both class and grace. Now, tragically, he passed away in 2020 after secretly battling cancer, and Marvel Studios decided instead of recasting the role, they would have the character die off-screen and see his young sister Shuri inherit the mantle in Wakanda forever. Now, Boseman played the character in 4 different events: Civil War, Black Panther, Infinity War, and Endgame. And honestly, following in those footsteps isn't easy just based on those performances, but this also is a hugely controversial and divisive issue with many fans of the character. There is a full contingent of fans that have just wanted Marvel to recast the character from day one, and a whole other end of the spectrum that wants the actor honored and feels pretty comfortable with what Marvel has done so far. Now, recently we got a huge update from Jeff Snyder, and like I always say, this isn't Marvel Studios or Kevin Feige or actually Ryan Coogler, who would also trust as a source. So we're going to take it with a grain of salt. Snyder has had some huge hits, but also some huge misses, and we want to keep that in context. Now, what Snyder is saying is that he has learned that Marvel Studios has approached at least one major Hollywood actor to take over the role. And at this point, it sounds like this new version of the character, who should be an aged-up version of Black Panther and Nakia's son, is an absolute lock for Doomsday or Secret Wars, which honestly I think would be the perfect venue to make this happen. Now, given the multiverse nature of all these events, it makes it pretty easy for Marvel to find a way to age up the character and kind of give both sides what they want. But recently, in Jeff Snyder's newsletter, he dove pretty deep into all of these details and gave us some insight into what he is hearing is going on. Now, what he said is, and I quote, "With Marvel reshuffling the deck in advance of Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, and Robert Downey Jr. coming back not as Iron Man but as Dr. Doom, I'm told the door is firmly open for T'Challa to be recast via the magic of the multiverse. I heard that an actor was actually offered the role this past fall, a couple of months after Downey's big reveal at Comic-Con, but they turned it down, not wanting to jeopardize their career momentum by stepping into Boseman's gigantic shoes, which may be too big to fill even for Hollywood's most talented black actors. Now, it's unclear whether T'Challa will appear in Avengers Doomsday or Avengers Secret Wars, but I think it's fair to assume that whoever is cast as the character will reprise the role in Black Panther 3, which has been discussed by everyone from Ryan Coogler to Denzel Washington. Now, we do know right now that Black Panther 3 is going to release after Secret Wars, so the Secret Wars event might be the big opportunity for Marvel Studios to bring in a new version of T'Challa. Now, honestly, ever since they introduced T'Challa's son at the end of Wakanda Forever, I feel like this writing has been on the wall, and it really was the best way to honor the actor and the fans and put us on a path to give everybody basically what they want without disrespecting Boseman's memory, which honestly, guys, Chadwick Boseman was one of the classiest men I think who has ever walked the earth. He fought his battle with cancer in silence and has a level of grace that I think everybody should aspire to. Now, given the MCU might recast several roles with a soft reboot after Secret Wars, well, the Black Panther being amongst those characters makes a ton of sense. Now, this doesn't mean Letitia Wright couldn't continue in some sort of role, but even though her work in Wakanda Forever was pretty great, she has come under some scrutiny for social media posts, which came close to derailing the sequel at one point in time. Now, other scoopers have chimed in with My Time to Shine Hello saying it's not a recast, it's an older version of his son, which is pretty much what we're expecting in one of those obvious duh sort of scoops that is kind of annoying because it's so obvious. This to me is exactly what Marvel Studios probably has been planning since they made the decision not to recast the character shortly after his death. The Black Panther is a key part of the Marvel Universe, and even though Letitia Wright did a pretty good job with it in its second movie, I am looking forward to the return of T'Challa and a more classic version of the Marvel Universe. I don't think the Black Panther will be alone. I think Steve Rogers and Tony Stark will both return, joining many other new and recast characters in the post-Secret Wars Marvel Universe, which from what we're hearing is going to contain not only the Avengers and Wakanda, but also the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. And honestly, given the Black Panther's history with the Fantastic Four, that is one of the crossovers I'm looking forward to the most. Now, we're going to follow Black Panther news pretty closely. I know a lot of you are very invested in the future of this character, and I am happy to see Marvel is making plans, but also treading lightly in considering fan expectations, as well as honoring Chadwick Boseman's memory. Now, before you take off, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, ring that bell for all the updates, and make sure you get every notification because we do daily Marvel and DC content and we don't want you to miss any news.